Andy Liu, the Warriors beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 109-104. Tim, give me the drop.
I'll say it once. Klay Thompson, he's the best. I'll say it again, just in case. Klay Thompson, he's the best. One more time. Klay Thompson, he is the best.
And that's your pod. So you got,
she's really forceful in saying that. 3 in a row. Very strong. Wow. And just, that's the guy that carried the Warriors tonight.
Is she wrong? I mean, you and I were texting in the first half. I was very ready. Honestly, like I'm kind of losing faith in the team, like overall. But Klay, the ultimate motherfucker, came through with another, and they needed it. You know what I mean? Like they needed it. I'm looking through the numbers. He's been averaging over 26 points per game since Christmas, shooting like the best version of himself. Another huge game tonight, 32 points, 12 for 23. And it's not even the numbers. You watch the game when they needed someone to just take them home, big possession, ball in his hands. I mean, the one on the right-hand side on the baseline, essentially a Kobe fadeaway shot from the corner from the 3-point. I was just like, wait, hit that. I'm like, they're not losing. It's over.
He had some shots that were ridiculous. You talk about that one. How about the other one that he did on McDaniels where he shoots it, again, just like Kobe, mid-range, spin move, just comfortable, 18-foot fadeaway, and you're just like, am I watching Klay Thompson? They throw elevators doors up there. I haven't seen that play in like 4 years, and that's money. He shoots out. He like flicks it back.
That's when you know. That's when you know they were hurting. They were going to like the Mark Jackson offense. So like, we just need a Klay shot. Get the elevator doors out.
Get it out. Get it up. He was the only guy. Dante DiVincenzo was awesome tonight, but he was the only guy that truly could make a shot. And I'm with you when you said I'm kind of losing faith in this team. I'm close. And part of it is just they're so bad right now without the guys that aren't healthy. But you just watch it; it's ugly. But hey, we're here to talk about Klay to start, and I think that was special. That's why that performance is why you always believe in the guys that won you 4 championships. 4 championships, never out on those guys. Remember when
until they can't walk, you kind of have to. You know, we've talked about it. It's kind of like you kind of have to go down with the ship. They're the best core you're probably ever going to see on the Warriors. Hold faith until it's clearly over with them on some level.
I mean, he earlier this season, it was almost getting there, right?
Yeah,
and you and I kind of sat here like
five different times this season.
Yeah, we were like, I mean, he's out of shape, and I think you're always going to believe that he's going to make shots. His issue wasn't anything else. It's the defense that's a problem, but offensively, is he about as good that he's ever been right now in his career? I think he's close to as good as he's ever been offensively.
He's approaching Game 6 Klay levels on offense. I'm not going to say he's fully there because you got to like feel the pressure of the moment to get full Game 6. I'm gonna call it Game 5 Klay right now. You know, he's approaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in terms of regular season basketball, in terms of a prolonged stretch of just high level play, it's as good as he's ever been offensively. Like we're talking now a third of the season. Obviously the first third of the season was rough. We all know he wasn't in shape. He was pressing mental hurdles with, pickup, which like I can get it given what he's been through injury wise. But the second third of the season, and like, honestly, that's what we're at. We've gone through 2/3 of the season. Looks as good as I can remember. I mean, like I said, he's 44% on 12 threes a game. Literally only Steph Curry does that. That's it. There's not like Dame has never had a spell like that. James Harden doesn't do that. Like go through your other players. Like that's a ridiculous amount of shots that everyone knows you want to take to hit at that level.
Some of the frustration with this game is the shot selection that the Warriors have. There are only 2 guys that I will ever trust, and I will ever trust moving forward that should shoot the way that Steph does, and it's Klay. That's it. Those are the 2 guys. Anybody else that shoots the shots that they shoot is disgusting. But when Steph and Klay shoot it, and when they shoot it in crunch time, how many freaking times do we have to see it? It's going in. It's going in. If it's not going to go in, it'll go in the next time.
We can talk Jordan Poole now or later because that's what you kind of dancing around.
Up to you.
I'm gonna say we go later. I want some positive. By the way, we got a friend of the show from Cron 4 sports director Jason DeVos joining us. Say 3 minutes, guys. But let's get through a couple things till we get there. Looney, I've got to call him out as like officially grandfathered into the core. You know, he wasn't there for the full run, but like he's the old man of the squad. 17 rebounds tonight.
17 rebounds tonight. 17 rebounds. And it honestly, it felt like clockwork. Didn't even seem special.
Every one of them, per usual. It's like Naz Reid. In the first half, I was like, look, man, if Naz Reid's going to do this to them, they don't deserve to make the playoffs, right? And, you know, it's not Naz Reid had a great game, but he had 30 in the third quarter. He ended with 30. Looney shot. I mean, I wish it happened earlier, but, you know.
Top 5 defensive 5 in the NBA. And I don't even know if, like, I'm not sure there are 4 better. Like, you can count Draymond as one of the 4, Giannis, Brook Lopez, whatever. But he is a top 5 defensive center in the NBA. The help defense that he put on in the fourth quarter shut the hose down at the rim. Anthony Edwards was awful tonight. Now, part of that, too, is like Kuminga was really good defensively on him. But part of that was he was just bad, just taking weird passes and shots. But Looney's help defense is special. Special. Man, when you get Draymond and Looney out there on defense, it is amazing. And he had to. And it doesn't look like Draymond's coming back anytime soon. So they're going to need Looney to keep giving what he's doing out there and pretty much has done all game. I mean, all season. It's not an anomaly game. He's been doing it all year. Incredible stuff. And then a huge offensive rebounds at the end there with 4 minutes left. I don't know, dude. Is he the best offensive rebounder in the NBA? I love Looney. Can he get paid 20 mil? Can he just get paid 20 mil?
Out of principle? Yeah. I mean, maybe they can do something where it's like everyone gets some money at the end of the year. They divvy it up by actual production. Like, you know, maybe you think you're giving Looney 7, but it ends up 19 by the end of the year type of deal.
We segue to Jordan Poole's contract. No, I'm kidding.
The other main call out for tonight, I mean, I have 2, but like Dante, another great game for him. Just kind of steadying hand for this team. And then Ty Jerome, I also want to give a shout out to in some ways because he was actually a steady hand. Like Jordan Poole had an uneven game and Steve Kerr throws Ty Jerome out there. Low mistake player. And sometimes I feel like that's all the Warriors need. Like literally play defense, let Klay shoot the ball and don't make mistakes. A better formula than whatever they've been running for a lot of the season.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Ty Jerome's sick hands. A couple steals, just get in there, do his thing. Dante DiVincenzo went to the rim a few times, especially down the stretch. We don't see that often. We don't see that enough, actually, because he's athletic. You would think he's finished because he's athletic. So that was cool. I think a good game for him defensively because the Wolves don't have any like super quick guards. I think that's who Dante has trouble. Everybody in the NBA does. So he was able to guard guys that he could guard. Did a good job on Edwards too. So where would this team be without DiVincenzo? I mean, honestly, where would this team be without Jerome? Jerome has been in some huge wins this season and playing big minutes. I love Jerome. Yeah, he needs to be on the team.
He's an Andy Lou player, as the people know. Love him. Going to transition from one Philly guy in Dante to another.
Well done.
Friend, Jason Dumas from Cron 4 Sports Director. How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, as usual.
You like that? You like that? The little Philly shout out there?
Yeah, we'll claim Dante. He's from Delaware, but we'll claim him.
How far are we talking? Like
Dante's probably like from city limits of Philly. Dante's probably like 45 minutes.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Yeah. Andy thinks I grew up 45 minutes away from the city, so it's about the same.
Yeah. I was literally just took the job. I mean, what's 45? He's in the city.
He played at Nova too, so yeah, we claim him.
That's where I got the feeling. He always mentions growing up a Sixers fan, so I just assume anyone who says that obviously had to grow up in the middle of the city. Yeah. There's no such thing as suburbs, of course. All right. So the big news before the game was Draymond's getting an MRI, and I feel like everything has to start on this. Like What do you know about Draymond and his knee and health? Because I feel like it's one thing after another with this team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Draymond, from everything I've been told, he hasn't been that healthy all season. He's actually been playing through a lot of stuff. Draymond isn't really the type to harp on this hurts and that hurts. He's just going to kind of suck it up and play. If he's out there, he's out there. He's not going to use an excuse as to why he might have had a bad game, why he might have had was a step slow. So he hasn't really been healthy all season. And yeah, this most recent one, he got kicked, and they didn't know if it was a bone bruise. Then it swelled up a little bit, and his body isn't reacting right. And if you remember last year when he had that calf, and
oh yes,
so that was kind of it's not a similar injury, but last year his body wasn't acting right, and they had to get additional tests. So when it was doing it, as recently as this morning, they felt the need that they needed to do some further testing and just make sure he's all right before they get him back. But right now he's just dealing with some swelling.
Yeah,
not great.
Saw him sitting on the bench at least.
Not
that means anything, but if it was like it's worse, maybe.
They're optimistic, obviously, cautiously optimistic, and he's still very much present in terms of what's going on and chomping at the bit to actually play, because right now, they're just treading water. They're kicking the can down the road, trying to get their guys back, Wiggs and Steph. And, he wants to be there when they come back and be a part of a run. They think, like Klay has said it out loud a dozen times in the past, 3 weeks. They still think when they're healthy and it's winning time, they have as good a shot at anybody. They think, well, if you ask them, they think they have a better shot than anybody. Obviously, it's been a very weird season, and up to this point, it's hard to be super, super optimistic when they do say that, but they're the guys playing, and they fully believe that.
Well, the problem is, I think Sam and I believe that. Everybody should believe that, but
I was going to say, I'm seeing people be like, "Oh, Lakers going to win the West." I'm like, they're the 12th seed. If you're going to be optimistic about them, and quite frankly, I get it. If you have good role players around AD and LeBron, they got as good a chance as anyone, right? But if you're going to feel optimistic about that, you should feel just as optimistic about the Warriors if they're healthy too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the exception of Phoenix, because I'm going to hold out judgment with them until KD gets healthy, there's not a team in the West that scares me. You got the Nuggets, who are the best team in the West record-wise right now. The Nuggets and Warriors faced off in a series. I would pick the Warriors just because the way I have it is I'm always going to bet with the team until I get proven wrong. And nobody has beaten this team when they are healthy. So I'll get proven wrong, and I'll be glad to admit I'm wrong, but I'm always going to push my chips into the team that has done it before and that has won at a consistent level on that stage. It's just, you got to prove me wrong before I pick against a team like that.
All right, Jason, help me out. Where on earth is Andrew Wiggins?
Man, I wish I could tell you.
Is he in the country? Is he in the Maldives somewhere? Is he vacationing? What is going on?
I mean, last I was told, he was in Minneapolis. I don't know the exact issues he's dealing with.
Yeah.
But clearly it's serious enough that the team is giving him a pass, because that's the first hurdle. When you have these issues, I mean, obviously aside from a family death or something, when you have these issues, you have to get clearance with the team if you can be away.
Sure.
Because, it's your employer. I can be like, hey, Kron, I have these issues. And they might be like, hey, we'll give you 2 days, but you have to get back. We have work that we need you to do. We're paying you. So clearly they've given him, permission to be away from the team for this extended period of time. So, I don't want to speculate, obviously. So obviously it's something to the point where, they believe it's a situation that he should handle. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's been a weird season for Wiggs because, he gets hurt, and then he gets COVID, and then he gets a non-COVID sickness, and now this. He hasn't really been able to get into a rhythm. I feel like there was just one, around early December, maybe
Yeah.
when he started to get into a rhythm, and then boom, it's gone.
That
He
period,
had one
like
good game, and then he's out again.
Thanksgiving-ish, it looked like he was really coming into his own, and then
Yeah.
it's a weird season. I don't know what to make of. Like, I guess my question is like, okay, so we think Steph's back in like the next weekish. Is that reasonable? Like, I mean, could be this week, could be next week, but it feels like next 10 days.
Yeah, that update that they gave us, what was it, last Wednesday?
Yeah,
that was way better than I thought, because I was under the impression, and from things I was told, it was hinted that it wasn't going to be until the weekend instead of that Wednesday. But then Steph got on the court and did some on-court activity, which was a surprise to some people in the organization. Like, they didn't think that he was going to get on the court as quick as he did, which I think part of it is Steph just like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think that's just like because like they look like they're reeling as a team? Like they need,
regardless of this win, they
needed to just feel like he's back. So because like Jordan's good, but you could tell like the pressure and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Jordan's not having as great of a season as many would have hoped for him. But
yeah,
I think Steph has a sense of urgency to get back. So when I first saw the injury, of just kind of speculative and going through like my educated opinions and talking to people, I was thinking it was going to be like more mid-March to like maybe like the 18th, 19th. But yeah, that's what I thought. But after getting that optimistic update, I'm thinking that it can be closer to like March 10th, like around there.
Okay.
And I think that would be good. Obviously, you don't want to rush him back. And I also think it's going to be based on how they're playing. Like, if they're able to get a win against Portland and keep kicking the can down the road, and then we'll see, they have 2 tough games after that, Clippers and then in LA. So those 2 will be tough too. But like, if maybe they get 1 of 2 of those and they're 2-1 over the next 3, so Steph doesn't feel as much of a sense of urgency. I think it's going to depend on a couple of factors. The sense of urgency, and obviously he's going to have to be able to go with them thinking he won't have further injury if he plays on it.
This is the Warriors all season. I mean, you could have cut and spliced what you just said in 30 seconds. Throw that back.
We've had that convo once every 10 days since
this is
October.
the weirdest season I've covered over 5 years, and that includes a COVID season and a Kelly Oubre season.
Wow.
So it's just weird. Like, soon as you think they get some rhythm, boom, something weird happens. And the most recent weird thing to happen is this whole Wiggins situation. And, it's one of those situations where you don't want to speculate because you don't know the severity of it.
Sure.
You don't know all the details of everything going on. But I think you can objectively say it's weird. You just kind of,
2 weeks is good. That's weird. I was telling Sam, I'm not going to guess because why? But it's just odd. It's objectively odd. 2 weeks, and it's not looking like he's coming back anytime soon. So
yeah, it doesn't sound like he'll be back Tuesday against the Blazers. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wanted to pull this quote up because I feel like it ties to what we're saying. Steve Kerr just said this on the post game. This is a huge win, not only for the standings but for the confidence of the guys to make that comeback against that team that were tied within the standings. Just an emotional win. I feel like that's literally where this team's at because they're just trying to tread water and get to the playoffs, not as the 10 seed or like out of the plan, like trying to see where they're at. Because to your point, while they'd probably like more runway, it's like if they have all their main guys, like at least they're willing to see how it plays out type of thing. But you watch this team and I was surprised that they came back today. I'm going to be honest with you. It felt like a big time, like Klay had to kind of, like grown man type of game, right?
Yeah.
Because it looked like they were going to lose. It looked like they were just overmatched, annoyed that Draymond was, all the things you'd expect. So,
yeah, I for sure thought they were going to lose that game. So it was cool to see them make that comeback. And, I think you got to take it back to last year. Obviously, different seasons. They were way better of a team last year up to this point. People were more confident. But even last year, they had those stretches where you're like, what the hell is going on? Is this team going to even win a series in the playoffs? Are they going to get healthy? But then they got healthy literally at the tail end of the season, and they had their full lineup for the first time all year in the playoffs. And we saw what happened in that playoffs. I think that gave them the confidence that they have this year, that it's like, if we just get our guys healthy by the playoffs and just get into the tournament, hopefully not a play-in seed, but you never know. But if we get into the tournament, we will be fine.
Yeah.
It's a little trickier this year just because we just haven't seen Wiggs be Wiggs this year. Like you said, there was like a small sample size late November, early December, where he kind of looked like, all right, he's coming along. We haven't seen the Jordan Poole of last year. Is just a little different. Jordan, I don't get why he just settles so much now. Like, he is at his best when he is getting to the rim, and that is setting up his perimeter shot. But now it's almost like he just settles so much for that outside jumper.
I think he's lost. He's the one that's been affected by the lack of veterans around him. He's the guy that they put too much on him. I've been hating on him and I've been criticizing, and it just too much. He's getting picked on defense. It didn't matter as much last year when he's got vets around him that know how to play. He has to carry the guys. He doesn't know when he should shoot or when he should pass. So he's trying to do one or the other. So now he's either shooting too much, taking dumb shots like you're saying, or he's passing too much, right? He'll have good games where he just passes and you're like, well, you're not that guy, dude. You're not Chris Paul. Go score the rock, right? And so, but on the other hand, I think they kind of made the point where, look, man, we're going to pay you $30+ million a year. Go figure it out. And he just has to. So.
They've given him the rope. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Yep.
If I was on that coaching staff, like, obviously they have Warriors have a great coaching staff. The guys know what I'm doing, but if I was one of those guys or Q1, I'd pull him to the side and be like, Jordan, like, I'm going to give you a challenge. Like, you have to shoot 9 to 10 free throws a game. Like, get to the rim, get in a rhythm that way. Your shot will come. But he just settles a lot. And I think that's hurt his game a little this year. But like you said, I do think the kind of lack of a veteran presence just really like kind of steering the ship for him has affected him. And then we never know when GP2 is going to come back. We talked to the media last year. I mean, obviously, last year you had him. He was healthy going into the playoffs, and then he gets hurt. But this year, you don't even know if you're going to get him back. And from the way he was talking, he was saying, hopefully I'm back by the postseason. And I had heard when he was still in Portland that he was playing through extreme pain. So, like, I wasn't completely surprised when everything played out the way it did. But, like, even before I had a clue that he was going to be a Golden State Warriors,
right,
I heard people were telling me that injury he has is a bitch. It is a son of a bitch. He is playing through pain.
Well, yeah. Do you think he's even back for the playoffs at this point? Like, it's interesting that they went through the deal with
all. Is it interesting?
Okay, we don't need to go down that road. Do you have any feeling for when he's going to be back in the mix?
Yeah, well, first of all, that trade, I get the sense that was a player trade, a player saying, do it, make that move. And yeah, I think he's going to be back just because, if he's not back, it's because he is really, really hurting.
Sure.
He'll put it on the line for the Warriors.
Right.
There's some questions whether he would do that for Portland, and I think that franchise kind of felt if he was fully committed to them. But he is where he wants to be. He never wanted to leave, and I think if he can play, he'll go out there and play. So I would say yes. If I was a betting man, will he be back by the playoffs? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be much sooner than the playoffs.
Yeah, it feels. I was going to say, it doesn't feel like a run's coming. It feels like they're going to grind and grunt their way to whatever seed they get.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the standings, because we're going to have to do this the rest of the way because God knows they haven't created separation for us not to. All right, win tonight, 31-30, a half game back of the Dallas Mavericks. Get out of the play-in. Jason, gun to your head. 1, do they get out of the play-in? 2, if they were going to get out of the play-in, what would you need to see happen, both on their end, but more importantly, like above them. Because like
Right.
getting out of the play, like it requires either they play out of their mind, which I just don't see happening health wise. So someone has to drop, and that's the bigger thing I'm running into.
Yeah, so you just got to look at the teams. The only team that I think will drop is Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think KD is going to come back, and the Suns are going to get worse. I think the Clippers are in a great rhythm. The only thing with the Clippers, you never know with their health. Paul George or Kawhi or something like can't play for 10 games. You know,
they're also not that good. Like they're not that impressive, but they're not a playing team.
But they don't need to be that good to
get out of the
seventh.
Right. That's right.
The Kings have just been steady, and so I think it's just really Dallas who Warriors have to try to jump. And then you look who's around the Warriors. You got the Jazz, Timberwolves, and Pelicans. I'm not sure any of those teams are going to make a run either. I actually think the team that has the biggest chance to make a run is the Lakers. I think the Lakers had probably the best trade deadline of any team.
Sadly, I have to agree.
Hold the Suns, maybe, obviously, because they got KD. But, I think Steph has to come back, obviously, mid-March at the latest, and they make a run with him. That's what I think has to happen. Hopefully you get Wiggs back too. Like, really, the Warriors just need, like you said, Sam, they need to tread water until they get their two guys back, Wiggs and Steph. And I'm assuming that Dre will be back in the near future too. I'm not including him in that. If they get him back, they can jump the Mavericks. They really can. The Mavericks, they haven't played well with Kyrie. They just haven't. They can't guard anybody.
No.
And, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no one – like, the top two seeds in the West are Denver and Memphis, and neither of those two teams scare me at all in terms of a series. Like, yeah, they're good, but I just think people don't realize, like, mental edge in sports is, like, it matters so much. And, like, just knowing Steph, Draymond, Klay, Looney – GP2,
neither of those teams want to see the Warriors.
They will go into that
frankly,
series.
The Lakers, if we're being honest.
They're going into that series saying to themselves, "There's no way we're losing to these guys." Yeah. And Sacramento, great story, but I don't think they scare anybody either. In fact, I could very well see a Golden State Sac series 6-3. I think that would be amazing.
Warriors might throw a parade.
Amazing for the
That's
region.
what they want.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it would be so typical of a Sacramento fan. They haven't had great luck, and then they get this good team, and they have to play the Golden State Warriors, the team you've been hearing about for the last decade, in the first round. I think it would be really fitting.
Sucks, man. That's unfair. That's unfair.
I feel that's a 5 or 6. I feel like their season's a win no matter what, though. I give them that.
Definitely, it's funny, like. You can tell they've been chomping at the bit to be able to talk trash to Warriors fans, because every time I tweet something Warriors, like pro Warriors, or like even if it's just something I think is objective, I'll get a random Sacramento fan in my mentions like just hating on the Warriors. The other day I said, the Warriors are fine. They just need to kick the can down the road. They lost because they don't have their two best players. That's usually what happens when you don't have your two best players. The NBA team loses.
Sure.
I had somebody in my mention like, no, they just suck. They're just not a good team. I click on the thing, Sacramento Warriors fan. I'm like, oh, you guys have been wanting to do this for years.
I went to Davis for college, and so I got a lot of buddies who are from the Sac area and are diehard Kings fans. And shout out to my guys because I'm happy for them more than anything. But they're very, very excited to just be able to talk trash back.
Yeah, to pile on. They're piling on right now. I mean, you got to give it to them, whatever. They don't get it that often.
I forgot what I was going to say. The West is a mess. It feels like the Warriors are going to go for I feel like they're targeting 10 games. It feels like they're saying 10 games left in the season. Steph is back. Wiggins is back. Draymond's back. GP2, maybe 5 games left in the season. And then just go win 7 out of 10 and just get into the playoffs. To me, I would bet, because there's only 10 games left, that they'll probably be in the play-in game. But if they're out of it, even better. But even if it's a play-in game, do what? You're playing the Pelicans as the 8 seed. You're playing we just watched the Wolves. Are they better with Gobert? Cat, we have no idea where he is. I saw him on the court tonight. I don't know when he's come back. And then you go down the list, the Blazers, they're a mess, right? And the Lakers, I guess LeBron's hurt again, or is he hurt because he's LeBron? I don't know. Said I heard a pop, gets
No
up,
comment.
makes a three. You know what I mean? Classic Bron. So I don't know. The West is insane. I watched the East. It's feels like you've got the two best teams in the NBA in the East. And then the West is kind of a shit show, which is, fine.
I said the same thing actually yesterday. I think the two best teams in the league are in the East, and you can even make a argument that the three best teams in the league are in the East.
Oh boy!
And
oh boy!
How you feel about last night, my guy?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
I think the better team won. Like I think the Celtics are better. It's unfortunate. What happened was the same thing that happened to the Warriors. Was that game 2 where Horford just went nuts?
Yeah.
Horford hit.
It was game. Just to be clear, it was game 1.
Game one. That's it.
That was super frustrating.
Well, that's what happened last night. The Sixers were in control. Horford had no points. He was like 0 for 4. Then he hit 4 3-pointers in like a 4.5 minute span.
Right.
And I mean, that was essentially the difference. And then, hats off to Jason Tatum. He hits a shot that was great defense by DeAnthony Melton. He just rises over him and hits a contested 3. So it's, the Celtics, I think, are better than the Sixers. Like, everybody has this idea that it's like Embiid and Harden, but if you watch them regularly, Harden does not beat people off the bounce anymore consistently. He's not that guy anymore. He's good.
No, he does not.
Like, he's still very skilled, and like he's been in the NBA long enough where he can get to his spots with like out the athleticism he used to have and still be a good player. But he's not going to be that guy where you just give him the ball and get out the way, and he's going to will you to win down the stretch. And it's hard for a big man to do that. Like they asked Embiid to like be a playmaker down the stretch, and I'm like, this dude is like 285 pounds. He's a center. Like he can't do that all the time. It's hard to do that at all. So that's going to be the Sixers' Achilles heel. They're going to, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Bucks. I think they could possibly beat the Bucks. I don't think they could beat the Celtics.
As a Philly guy, I'm going to get you out on this question.
Yeah.
I know the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Was it 5 years ago now?
Yeah, 5 years ago. 18.
What is causing more mayhem for you? The Eagle, and I know it's rough because they're in the Super Bowl, and I know you don't want to rehash that one. Or the 76ers and Embiid actually coming through?
See, the
Phillies just lost the World Series. I mean, do you care about baseball? I mean, that's one right there.
I was at the game. I was at game 6 when they lost in Houston because the Eagles played Thursday night the same weekend in Houston.
Underdogs, though, so it's not as bad.
Well, with the Eagles and the Phillies, nobody expected championship runs, so I was just like kind of along for the ride. Obviously, you're disappointed when you get to the end and you don't win. For the Sixers, though, like obviously, I want to see the Sixers win a title. That would be cool for me personally. But I'm not like of the opinion that like Joel Embiid is this guy who hasn't gotten past the second round and it's like a choke. Like I think Joel Embiid played really well. His body has failed him a couple years, but mostly like the Sixers have lost to teams that were better than them. They're just point blank period. So I don't know. I guess like it's weird because basketball is my favorite sport, but I try like football. I have no problem like really being a fan.
Yeah, that's
with basketball. I try not to be a fan
as
much because like I also report on it, so I don't want to like seem like I'm just biased.
It does. I understand what you're saying. It just takes the fun of it out. Would you be happy for your dad or like your uncle who's like diehard? Sure, but like you don't get to enjoy it the same way.
That's why That's why I get so angry watching the Niners choke every year. I'm just more of a I'm a fan watching football, and I'm just like
right. I can be like with the Eagles, I can just be more of a fan because I don't really cover the NFL as extensively as I cover the NBA. So it's kind of like taking like the fandom out of me. But like if the Sixers were to go on and win a championship this year, you'd definitely see pictures of me in like Philly, like hanging off a tree, like with a bottle in my hand.
Well, we see it on IG. I've seen it at least.
No comment. No, it's between us.
Yeah.
Jason, appreciate you, my man.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on as always.
You have a great night.
We don't get to talk enough Eastern Conference stuff, so it's good to get
we
him on to
don't.
talk
We're gonna have to get him on when the playoffs actually start,
that's great.
so we can do a little Eastern Conference stuff. I had to cut him off though because important note from Steve Kerr. We got some Tony Lamb propaganda.
Oh boy,
it's tonight. They're both kind of coming up towards their limit. What are the conversations like right now about, your open 15 spot and also your realization of how much you've been needing those guys?
Yeah, well, that realization happened a long time ago, so Lamb and Ty have been huge. They've helped us win a lot of games this year. Lamb does a whole lot of stuff that people don't recognize. He is one of our best defenders in terms of coming over and rotating and understanding our coverages, hitting bodies, boxing out. He's a good passer, good three-point shooter. He hit the big one from the top of the key. He can play multiple positions. We played him as a small 5. He and Kuminga have been a great combination this year. I think Lamb and Kuminga together opens up the game for Kuminga a little bit. So, Lamb is he's been really important, and Ty,
That's it. You're not going to hear me listen to Ty Jerome.
Your thoughts on Tony Lamb as the new Draymond Green, the new small ball 5?
Oh, hey, dude, he hit a huge 3 today. Look, man,
He
that
did actually play a good all around game. I can't hate.
He actually had one of his better games in the past month. But I mean, as we've been saying, right, isn't that kind of where the Warriors are at, where they have to rely on someone like Anthony Lamb and even Ty Jerome to that extent? They have to rely on these guys to get wins. Is kind of says a lot about the Warriors roster.
Yeah, I feel like Ty actually is an NBA player who can have a nice 10-year career, maybe. Maybe 10's aggressive, but you get what I'm saying. Anthony Lamb, and honestly, he's had a really good season. I feel like people are a little too hard on him, but the overarching take from Steve Stuff is like, dude, give me some adults, man. These guys, they're not even that old. They're 25. But they understand how to play team basketball. I don't even know if Anthony Lamb is necessarily that good, but it makes it easier for him to play Kuminga, as he said. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those things where they're, it's a subtle message about the roster more than anything. And Steve's always going to defend the end of the roster guys, right?
Yeah. So it sounds like
you got to respect it on some level.
I mean, I do. I just don't like Anthony Lamb. Does he? You think he's getting the final 15? You think there's no buyout guy coming? That's it. No Warriors.
The emergency pod, Tony Lamb gets his contract guaranteed, is going to be arguably our best podcast. It'll be up there with the title.
My guy Lars School will be on. I will not be me. I will be ghosting. You will not get a text back from me when that signing happens.
I want to make it clear. I just can't hate on two-way guys. Like for me, it's always just about like, maybe it would be better if you built a roster where your coach didn't feel the need to play those guys nonstop. You know what I mean? Like that guy's fighting for his life. He's going to probably get an NBA contract. And shout out to him for basically achieving what everyone would love to achieve. Right.
Yeah. A couple of things on the young guys here. Before we get to the goons, Patrick Baldwin, kid just strokes. Can't play any defense though. Pretty bad. But can shoot the hell out of the ball.
Almost like he's a kid.
Yeah. Right. So that tells me why Steve doesn't play him outside of the fact that he's 18. Moses Moody, shook as always, right? There's really nothing else to say about him. He just looks rattled out there. Kind of sucks. Not he kind of sucks. It just kind of sucks that he's rattled. And then Kuminga. I wish Kuminga would play more. He only played like 25 minutes. I don't understand why Steve takes him out so early. He makes a few dumb turnovers sometimes, maybe a bad defensive player. He got benched the last 5 minutes when he made a bad pass. Again, I think it's a little unfair, but I wish he could play more. He did a pretty decent job defensively on Edwards. And I say this every show. How the hell is he going to get better if he's not going to get to play and play through mistakes? Right,
yeah. And that's the rough part. I mean, I do feel like, going back to Kuminga, like he's somewhere between where taking that step, but like he is getting better in some ways. So
Yeah, like I can't tell you he's gonna be a star. I don't know that.
but I can tell you right now, I'm absolutely not willing to write it off.
Yeah,
You cannot tell me year 2 he's worse than Jaylen Brown was year 2. Does that mean he's going to turn into Jaylen Brown year 5? No. But like the wing skill set and like the flashes, they're enough to keep me entertained. But you know me, like I liked him coming into the draft, and like I'm holding on to that stock. Might not be level headed on this one.
I had to be talked into Jordan Poole and Kuminga, so this is why, and everybody that's listened to our show knows this. So this is why I've kind of been on the precipice with each of them, and Poole struggling now. You don't need to talk me into Kevon Looney and Patrick Baldwin, though. I'm all in, and Moses Moody, to be honest. And I can wrong on Moody, but yeah.
At this point, I watch because like I'm just a draft nerd. I like that sort of stuff. I watch players and like I put them in. I'm gonna tell Andy about this guy, or no, he's not gonna like him. Like I know which ones are gonna excite you and which ones.
You think I like Scoot Henderson? You know what I mean? Like you think I'm gonna like Scoot Henderson?
I actually don't think you have an issue with the top 3 guys because they're just players.
Yeah,
but it's like when you get beyond like the like everyone likes Wembanyama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like once you get beyond that, it's like could go either way. Could be an Andy guy or could be a pure tools guy with no feel. You know?
Yeah, I get it. Which is why when I watch Halliburton and
Anthony Black, my guy, check him out. Check out Anthony Black.
Who's he play for?
Arkansas.
Aren't they the best team in the nation?
No, not at all. They're thinking of Alabama. Where my guy Brand Miller plays. But
your guy.
All I'm gonna say is that Wednesday performance. That was some Kevin Durant level stuff. I'm not saying he's gonna be that. I'm just saying it got my eye. But Anthony Black screams Andy Lou to me. There's some Livingston there. There's some Lonzo there. I think the upside's higher. Like he's gonna be the quintessential guy that people are like, oh yeah, he's good, but like, can he be a star? And I'm like, I don't know. He just continues to make plays. He just doesn't ISO all game, you know? Yeah, you know exactly. You know, I'm watching. I'm talking this. I'm like, God, and I just sound like Andy.
Hey, no, you know what? You know who? Here's a guy that I've heard that I would love. I read the scouting report the other day. It looks like he's in the lottery now in some mock drafts.
Jed Howard?
No. He's pretty famous. He's a son of a famous guy in the league today. Bronny.
Oh God. Yeah, they're trying to reframe Bronny as being Drew Holiday, right?
And I'm like reading it. I've never seen him play. Big 3-and-D guy, can shoot, makes all the winning plays, and I'm reading that and I'm just like, oh fuck, am I gonna be a Bronny James?
Yeah, I saw someone. This is the best tweet. It's like, yeah, they're saying LeBron's son's gonna be Caruso. I'm like, on the one hand, that's hilarious. On the other hand, that's a big win because if you know you're getting Caruso, you're taking him probably 10th in the draft because there's never better than 10 players that good in the draft.
No, especially defensively. I mean,
look, we got some voicemails to get to, but I was watching the Suns and Mavericks.
Yes.
Sorry. Suns and Bucks today, mixing my games. Drew Holiday will never get mentioned as the best guards in the NBA. Outside of the superstar class, I'm not sure anyone's better than him because he made Devin Booker's life hell. Not a lot of guys who can guard at that level and give you 17-9, 20-7, like that type of production. Like, is he a little frustrated on offense sometimes? Like, yeah, he's shots a little inconsistent, right?
Yeah.
But like such a winning player, man. Just like, would you rather have him or Damian Lillard?
I mean, come on. You know what I'm going to say. Because Damian Lillard's going to win you more games in the regular season, but also Dame's going
to take scrubs to 40 wins.
Drew can't, but if you're going to want to win a championship, who are you putting next to Giannis, who's a true number one, right? Giannis is a true number one. Dame is obviously not, right? So who's the better number two?
That's the point. That's the point right there. You know? Yeah, exactly. All right. So who you rather have? Trae Young or... You know what I'm saying? Like those guys, yeah, if I put them out there with Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome and Quindary Weatherspoon and, obviously Trey's going to win you more games because he can carry a garbage team. But which one of those players do you want next to LeBron? Which one of those players do you want next to Steph? Which one of those guys you want next to Jokic? I was thinking about it. Drew, like you put Drew next to Jokic. That might be the move. But like
I might argue like he's better than Jamal Murray, right? If you put him next to Jokic.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Westbrook, we saw what happened when you put him next
I'm
to
cutting
LeBron.
this out and sending this to our friend Ben, just so he knows I don't hate on the Bucks. But yeah,
Drew is incredible, man. He is. Somebody tweeted that he is who people think Marcus Smart is, and I'm just like,
yes,
yeah.
that's perfect. He is. Yeah, he's. If you could combine GP2 and he's not as wild as Poole, but it's like the point stands. Like he's. How many guys can actually guard at the point of attack as well as him? It's like GP2, Caruso, Drew, and I'm not sure I could put anyone else on that tier.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess Smart. You could put Smart in there a little bit. He's elite flopper. Elite flopper. Maybe Lonzo when he was healthy.
Caruso and Drew have given Steph issues, and then he figures it out. Marcus Smart was like 40. I'm sorry. It's different. He can't. Marcus Smart's thing is he's good at guarding bigger guys.
Yes.
Like he gets the little guy who can guard big guys thing going.
The Boston has elite role-playing big Al Horford, elite athletic big Robert Williams, two-way wings Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and then Marcus Smart. That defensive player of the year was one of the most hilarious things I've ever heard. That's stacked defense. What are we doing?
By the way, if anyone gives Brook Lopez defensive player of the year, it's the same kind of garbage, in my opinion, because it's like you watch the Bucks. He first off, he's a great defender. He's great at his role. He's absolutely great at his role.
Player too, yeah.
But who's the best defender on the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Who's the second best defender on the Bucks?
Yeah, true. Wow, it's a good point.
It's just like the Smart thing. It's like anyway. Tim, let's get to voicemails.
Yeah, let's go. Bucks are good.
Yo. Wow, what a win. Oh my God, that was such a good game. I mean, I was really impressed with Jordan Poole. Like, I think he played a really mindful game. Looks like he did some meditations and
Is this from tonight's game?
Kind of very calm game from him. Didn't turn over the ball that much. Klay, phenomenal game. Almost cost us the game. Turned it over like 3 times at the end there. Oh my God, what an ending. My heart was beating like 120 times per minute, and it was such a crazy but a very fun game. I was so happy with the win. Fucking Austin Rivers with his ugly face talking shit. I was so happy that we got this dub, man. Let's go. I think we're going to be 6 feet. Thanks, guys.
Oh, what a call.
By the way, per the timeline, Austin Rivers and Jason Aponte are the same person.
I laughed so hard when I read her tweet. I laughed so hard. I need Aponte's live reaction to that. Well, Aponte's like 6'5", right? Rivers like 6'5" or 6'4", 6'3". I don't know. By the way, Austin Rivers
6'3".
I like Austin Rivers a lot, and I wish, and I know why the Warriors didn't get him, but he would be a good player on the Warriors. They don't need more guards. Dante's better, but Rivers is a good player. He's a good player. I'm surprised the Warriors never tried to get him. He was at the league.
He does feel like a Warrior, and now that he has a podcast, like he really feels like a fucking Warrior. Have you heard his podcast? He sounds like every Warriors player.
Really? Is he talking about the meaning of life and shit? Is that what he's doing?
He wants to get on there and talk about how in team basketball you gotta do this. They think it's all about the highlights. I'm like,
oh yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm a bigger Rivers guys now. Awesome, it's amazing.
There's only 2 guys on a team who get to get their shots off whenever they want. Everyone else is a role player. I don't care what they say. You play your role and blah, 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 something like that. And it's first off, he's not inaccurate, but I'm just watching this. I'm like, bro, how did we miss on a defensive minded role player who wants a podcast? That's literally what we're better at than
the trio, the big three, the big 3.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Let's get to the next one, Tim.
Andy, Sam, help me out with this. wasted roster spots. Why don't we at least have a 7-footer as well? They can get anybody right now. They can even go down to the G League and just get Grant Golden for sakes and just sign him just so we can have a big body. We just need people for rebounding and rim protection. But no, we're going to stay small, which I guess that's the one way to make it. But no 7-footer, no dude over 6'9" is killing us right now. Wake up, please.
Good call.
Somebody do something about it. They could get Taco Fall. At least he could alternate the shots with putting his hands up in front of the rims and jumping high. He's not going to be fast.
Yeah, we don't need Taco Fall.
Good call.
I feel like the call was from before the game ended there. So, it's cool. I get it, but let's get to the next one, Tim.
Yo, what a hell of a win for the Warriors. Shout out to everybody on the playback with me and Ty and McWalter. Pacific Catch Playback, make sure everybody's tuning in for these games because they're great. It was a lot of fun. Parlay didn't cash today because Jordan Poole played like a dumbass on offense, but as a whole, good game. This might be the dumbest game I've ever seen based on the late game execution. Very, very frustrating, but I'm not going to be too angry. A win is a win. I brought this up on the playback, and I'm curious what your guys' take would be on this. I feel like, one, we gotta call our shots about the people who buried 11 and acted like he was done for, was never going to be as effective as he is. He's having one of the two, this might be the best 2-month stretch of his career, at least obviously offensively. Defensively, he doesn't have what he used to, but, the dude is looking like he really is back. And, maybe defensively now just against bigger wings instead of like shifting.
Can we talk about number 11 again? Is it time? Is it time for us to let all the experts who wanted 11 moved for teenagers to get it? The time?
The thing about these Warriors is I always feel like they're the most mentally tough dudes in the NBA. There's not many more tough guys than these dudes. And it just doesn't look that way because Steph is 6'2" and Klay is not super athletic. I mean, the guy can barely, if you ask him to windmill dunk, could he? Same with Draymond, right? Same with those three guys.
Klay looks like he's like kind of stoned half the time. So
just looking kind of goofy. But if you were to ask me, is there a core in the league more tough than those guys? I would say no, and not even close. And you watch someone like him come back from the ACL and Achilles, and it was obvious that he was going through depression. It was obvious that he just couldn't handle not being able to play basketball. Someone like him who's been great at basketball, played it every day his whole life, loses basketball for 2+ years. And for him to come back like this, God, man, you just don't get to see, as fans, you and I and everybody that listens to us, you don't get to see people often that go through the highs and then the lowest lows and then come back in, which is why you watch the NBA and these players go from team to team. And you're just like, yeah, if they win a championship, cool, but it doesn't hit the same as being a Warriors fan. It just doesn't. It's cool being a Warriors fan. Pretty cool.
It is. And I'm always going to be a little, look, man, it's easy to look ahead and like imagine the future. You've actually seen these guys do it. Just ride with it until it's over. That's kind of where my mentality with it is. Like, you're going to regret wanting to move on to the next thing because the next thing is probably not going to be as good as this thing. It's just, you may think, go ask Giants fans how they feel, go ask 49er fans how they feel post Steve Young. Jeff Garcia in there doing a bunch of stuff. It's 25 years later, still searching for the quarterback, right? Like that sort of thing. And you can point to every other team, and that's life. That's sports. Like, it's impossible to win for eternity. When you found the guys who can get it done in the most pressure packed of moments, enjoy it and ride with it.
Honestly, that was just a fun win. It wasn't pretty the whole time, but it was fun. It was fun to watch. Couple of things. Anthony Lamb has got to go. Like, I mean, I wish he was out of games that he could play. That's where I'm at. Klay Thompson, I feel like for the rest of the season, we should just talk about him and how great he is and the comeback he made, maybe. Is that possible, just to talk about Klay Thompson? I mean, is it possible to run out of things to talk about Klay Thompson? Anyways, yeah, I feel like those are like the highlights of the game. Everyone kind of contributed except for like Jermichael Green. He was kind of terrible. And PBJ, I mean, I wish he got more minutes, right? Because he drops that three and it's practically a bomb. Like, you just hear it hit the back of the rim and fall through, and it's like, let him do that. Just let him go out there, throw a couple threes up, and then take them out if they don't fall. But, I mean, play him over Anthony Lamb. Anyways, y'all have a good one.
Appreciate the call.
I mean, that was the whole game in a nutshell in one call. All right, we got one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Hey, this is Ed calling from Walnut Creek. Just wanted to say that Warriors are 2-0 since I invited Klay Thompson to our wedding, and I feel like I owe him about 5 drinks for all that he's done for us of late. Thank you, Klay. Love you. Go Dubs.
Wow.
Congrats, Klay. Walnut Creek wedding. Let's go, my man.
Would you invite Klay to your? You already got married, but would I invite Klay to my wedding? Absolutely.
I mean, look, I know Looney's invited. I know Draymond's invited. Steph, you'll let Steph sit at the altar.
Yeah. He's giving the best man speech.
Just kicking Kevin to the side. Give him what you wrote, little bro.
Oh wait, no. Actually, no. Andre's officiating.
But Anthony Lamb's not allowed in.
Dude, I have an arrest warrant out for him. Is what I did. Oh, all right. The Warriors has Portland on Tuesday, so we'll be back.
Appreciate you guys.